In episode 1, we met Richard, his family, and heard how he went from being a 6-year-old obsessed with motocross
He's got an inbuilt love of speed.
to a professional rugby player, capped for Wales 4 times, to then, after a forced retirement from rugby, an extreme athlete taking up challenges in the most brutal and testing parts of the world.
That's just the most amazing feeling.
We learned how much this latest period of his life means to him.
If you had to keep one, but only one, would you keep that first world record or that first Wales cap?
If I had to pick one, honestly, and it breaks my heart to say this, I would pick the 737 challenge.
For most people, this level of achievement would be more than enough, but not Richard Parkes. In returning to Antarctica, Richard is not only striving to better his British record and challenge one of the most incredible world records in polar history. He wants to use the expedition and the years of planning leading up to it as an opportunity to inspire people of all ages to think beyond the boundaries of their imaginations. So, alongside training to ski solo from coast to pole, unassisted and unsupported, Richard has been assembling what he describes as Team Quest, a collective of organisations and individuals who are motivated by human progress.
You know, it's something that has consumed me and you know, the people that I work with and my family for a long time now. And, you know, some of the students signed NDA forms 12, 14 months ago. So to be able to actually talk about it and for it to be out there it's awesome.
I think it's time to hear more about Team Quest and its vision for the future. This is Richard Parkes, Antarctica. Hello, I'm Vicky Blight, and this is the podcast following Richard Parkes' attempt to ski from the Antarctic coast to the South Pole, unaided and unsupported as fast as humanly possible. And we're also meeting those who have helped him get ready for this expedition, which is very much what this episode is all about. Before we do that though, let's give you an update on Richard's expedition timeline. At the time of recording this, Richard is currently at Union Glacier Base Camp in the northwest of Antarctica. It's the logistics hub, if you like, for adventurers before they're dropped off into the wilderness in a twin otter plane. Richard arrived at Union Glacier from the bottom of Chile a week later than expected due to heavy snowfall and at times slightly surprising weather conditions. Tell me about this melting runway. What's going on?
Well, Mother Nature is continuing to deal us hands that we weren't quite expecting. You know, the weather's been really unstable this season. We know that. There's been a lot of expeditions that have been delayed starting, but she's continued to throw a spanner in the works because, ironically, Union Glacier is particularly warm at the moment, which means the surface layer of the runway, which is an ice runway, is a little bit soft, which the pilots of the Aleutian aircraft are not comfortable landing on. So we're hoping for a cold 24 hours to harden the surface of the runway so we can land the Aleutian hopefully tomorrow.
So, finally, 2 days later, the weather got slightly more Antarctica-like and Richard arrived at Union Glacier in the heart of the spectacular and remote southern Ellsworth Mountains. Shortly, Richard will head to Hercules Inlet on the coast of Antarctica, the traditional starting point for the coast-to-pole expeditions. From there, he will begin his grueling 1,150-kilometre journey. When exactly depends on the weather conditions, but our best guess right now is around the 15th of December. While Richard was stuck in Chile, literally hopping from coffee shop to coffee shop because he'd already checked out of his hotel, back home, his project Team Quest was being unveiled to the world. And for Richard, it's a mission that's far grander than any expedition to Antarctica.
You know, it's about trying to challenge people to think, you know, beyond their horizons. And, you know, all these sort of things, they seem quite cliched, but do you know what? In the world that we're living in at the moment and the world that we're moving into, you know, being resilient, being, you know, adventurous in your thinking and being brave enough to take risks and to live in a dynamic world. These are critical skills now, right? And I just hope that, you know, people that follow the journey will A, really enjoy it, and B, you know, hopefully walk away learning something a little bit more about themselves or the world.
Team Quest is the culmination of years of amassing knowledge and Richard passing that knowledge on to others.
I've always been really passionate about sharing my experiences and trying to use my experiences to enable and help others, whether that's, corporate work, schools work, or even the Extreme Whale series.
The TV series that Richard presented for the BBC.
Was something I was really proud of because hopefully it inspired people to explore what was on their doorstep in Wales, and and that's been part of, I guess, my makeup for a long time. But this project, Team Quest, is essentially it's been about bringing together all the things that I've learned over the years, and showcasing how we can use adventure to inspire and to enable.
So, who is Team Quest? Well, there are 4 title partners. Sony, where Richard is a learning and development ambassador for its UK Tech Centre. World leader in real estate services, JLL. The Cardiff-based science centre, TechnoQuest. And Cardiff Metropolitan University, or Cardiff Met. Then there are 5 senior partners and many more stakeholders across multiple sectors. And at its core, a question. How can this, one of the most grueling expeditions on Earth, be used to create learning opportunities for young people and business leaders? Can it inspire people to think outside the box? For some, that's been happening already. Team Quest started at the development phase of this expedition.
I'm Daniel Siegel. I'm a product design BSc student, and I was part of the team making the cover of the pulp for Team Quest.
Richard approached Cardiff Met School of Art and Design to help him improve the design of the canopy that covers his sled, or Richard uses the Norwegian word, his pulk. A real brief where the stakes were high.
I think it's just really, really amazing because all our lectures and workshops and things are based off going into careers and going into real life jobs. So then to have an opportunity, whilst you're still at uni, whilst you're actually still in this learning stage, to then already have this chance to make something that will go into real life or is already in real life. It's really, really cool.
For us, we've never had a brief like this.
This is Simon Dawson, Senior Lecturer in Food Science and Technology at Cardiff Met. His students have been involved in creating daily food rations for Richard, including a special Christmas dinner.
And it's putting students in a real life situation for a project that's so important. Is fantastic because all of them have just, they've developed, they've worked hard together and they've developed in themselves. It isn't just a case of them doing this brief, it's what they're going to learn afterwards as well. And it's life skills they're building up from this. And even if it wasn't this project, it's putting them into a situation like this. They would never normally be expected to do something in such a short space of time. So to work hard, work together as a team, and develop products that he's going to survive off these things is really, it's a life-changing experience for all of them.
We're going to be hearing the story of the design and technology involved in this expedition and the food Richard is eating later in the series. We're also going to be coming back to Mount Stewart Primary School in Cardiff, where pupils have been designing the covers of the flasks for Richard's expedition. Yakin was one of them.
We tried to make sure that when he's feeling down, he could just look at these flasks and he can feel at home and feel that he can do this and get him in a positive mindset so he can finish this challenge and hopefully break another record.
What motivates me and what will motivate me when I'm having the dark days on the ice is that this project has already been a really powerful tool to inspire and enable students at Cardiff Met and also some of the school children with a different perspective and an adventure mindset that hopefully will give them the tools to perform in the dynamic world that they're inheriting. And that sounds quite bold. I know it sounds quite grand, but as far as scale, I guess, and scope, this is my most ambitious project to date.
So, that's Team Quest in action, in development and in execution. But what about something that Richard is equally passionate about? Legacy. Richard has also been working with Technoquest in Cardiff. It's a science and discovery centre based in the Bay Area of the city. Claire James is Technoquest's head of partnerships and engagement, and she was struck by the possibilities from the first moment she met Richard.
I just started thinking about the science behind his expeditions and what he was trying to do. I remember him talking about something that he'd done with his father to prepare for one of his expeditions, where he'd had to deploy all of the engineering skills that they had between them in order to basically make his cooking apparatus smaller and lighter. There's, of course, the physical side for him and the biology and the impact that his expeditions have on his body. So that's a real area of interest for us. But the weather, for example, this is another one. Environmental impact. All of this really starts to plug a gap for us here in Technoquest. And so eventually I approached him then and said, I work for Technoquest. I think there's a huge amount of science behind what you do. We are on a mission ourselves to diversify our audience, and I think we could work together.
So, at the end of the mission, there will be a new Antarctica exhibition at Technoquest centred around Richard's expedition and the story of how he applies himself to achieve his mission.
Our exhibits are phenomenon-based, so to have something here that really tells a story of Richard's mission and also maybe links in with other aspects of Wales in Antarctica is a fantastic opportunity for us. We're also going to develop a schools outreach programme so that we can take bits of that expedition out to schools. What we want to do here at Technoquest is make science relevant to everybody, and so it's making sure that people see the relevance of science in the world around them. And so this is what we're hoping Richard will do, is inspire people to think a bit differently about science.
Richard says over 500 people are involved at some level in Team Quest, including school children, students and Richard's partners. Officially, Team Quest has 4 title partners, 5 senior partners, 8 legacy partners and a number of other stakeholders, each playing a part in this adventure. However, these are some of the key people of Richard's team, the inner sanctum, if you like.
First up is Professor Nikki Phillips, the pocket rocket, as I referred to her in my book. Nick's the performance director for the project, but she's also one of my best mates. Nick's a physiotherapist by trade. She was also recently chef de mission for Team Wales in the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games in Australia.
Wales' most successful Commonwealth Games ever, I should add. Next.
Another member of the team is Steve Jones. He's the operations manager at Antarctic Logistics and Expeditions. And Steve is basically the all-knowing guru on anything Antarctica. Steve has been a really important sounding board for me in developing this expedition and giving myself the very best chance of being able to ski this quickly.
And then there's the people Richard cares about more than anyone in the world.
My family is my heartbeat, and that's my mum and dad, Joe, my fiance, and my son Fred. I wouldn't be who I am. I wouldn't be able to do what I do without their love and support and patience as well.
Excuse the noisy Chilean dog in the background here. Obviously disappointed not to get a mention.
Mum and dad are my heroes. I think they'd be the first to say that they're not necessarily from a sporting background, but the values that they have shared with me and the way that they have lived their life and grabbed opportunities and been agile and lived with an adventure mindset has been a huge inspiration to me. And the final piece of the jigsaw and the most important for me is Joe and Fred. Joe's my fiance, my best friend as well, and has been an absolute integral part to the design and development and execution of this project. It's been able to bounce ideas and fears and worries and concerns, back and forth with Joe that that I've been able to, to get to a place where I've been able to recruit the right team and to design the project that Team Quest is now. And I wouldn't have been able to do that without Joe. Joe's a lawyer by trade, actually works in compliance in the financial sector. And you might think that poles, excuse the pun, poles apart from what I do, but actually we have a very, very similar mental process to managing and understanding risk.
And then there's one final member of Team Quest, who probably is a little too young to realise it yet. Richard and Joe's 10-month-old son, Fred.
What are you doing?
We started talking about this project, ironically, before we started talking about Fred, our son. And actually, to be able to go through both journeys at the same time has been really challenging at times. Being away for Fred's first Christmas it's tough for me. There's nowhere I'd rather be than home with my family and Joe and Fred. But equally, it's really tough on Joe as well. But we make a really great team, and we made a commitment to this project, and there's no reason to change who we are or what we do. People often ask me why I do what I do, or what motivates me or drives me, and that's not always an easy question. We're all quite complex beings, but since Joe and I had Fred, the idea of using what I do and using my skill set, and I guess inspiring others to use their unique skills to add value to the world and to make the world a better place is something that burns deeply in me, and Fred's oblivious to all of this. Luckily, luckily, I'm telling myself that Fred won't remember any of this, but he's a huge part in continuing to do what I do, and using, the concept of the Team Quest project, the concept of using the physical endeavour to create opportunities, for young people and for business, and to impact our community, the work with Mount Stewart Primary School to actually leave that positive legacy. That's always been important to me. Every project has had a legacy, but Fred has really crystallized that focus. That's the phone in my room ringing. I have no idea.
Someone telling you, room service is...
I'm going to answer it.
Yeah, no, go for it.
Hola, buenas tardes. Muchas gracias. Sí. Amazing. Thank you very much. Okay, ciao. So, my laundry is ready for collection downstairs.
Well, that's good. At least you've got clothes.
Yeah. I was saying something really, really powerful and poignant about Fred being such a powerful inspiration to the project. But actually, I'm more excited now that my jeans are clean, so I can actually go out.
And far be it from me to stop a man who needs to pick up his laundry. That was Richard enjoying his last few days in Chile before eventually heading out to Antarctica and doubling down his focus on that route to the South Pole and doing it faster than ever before. Will he break his own British record and the second fastest time in history of 29 days? And can he get close to Christian Eider's world record time of 24 days?
He might break my record now. He might do something with my record.
That's next time on Richard Park's Antarctica. Thanks for listening. To follow Richard's incredible journey in Antarctica, click subscribe to get regular podcasts for free, downloaded to your phone when they're ready. And if you like what you hear, then why not give us a rating and a review? Thanks to Lindsay Lou and Hungry City Hippie for doing that already. Your reviews help others find the podcast more easily. I'm Vicky Blight. Richard Park's Antarctica is a Bengo Media production for Team Quest.